Good morning, everyone. This is daily trading analysis with the weekly recap for this week, which has been really a roller coaster, but really choppy price action. But we have a mixed sentiment, neutral sentiment based on the existing home sales, S&P Services PMI, initial jobless claims, and also some Trump policies that are affecting the market. So basically, the US existing home sales come in at surpassing the expectations quite a little bit, indicating continued growth. Then we have the S&P manufacturing PMI and services PMI. The manufacturing PMI came in positive, slightly increases, suggests some improvement. And then we have the 52.8 really lower on the services side, which is potentially slowdown in services, but this is a tick in the right direction for inflation. And this is confirmed by the 6 month and 3 month bill high yields, which are really lowering the expectations of rate hikes and future rates. All these decreased rates have a positive market impact. We can see that also in the market expectations. This is where we are right now, and we are expected to decrease by 25 basis points on June. On June, we are supposed to cut interest rates, but then until the end of 2026, this is not expected to continue cutting rates. Trump has put a lot of pressure onto the Fed because he's basically requesting, almost signaling the Fed needs to cut rates. But this is not affecting the analyst. I think the Fed is going to continue to be independent, and basically this neutral sentiment 53, it's what we saw basically. Finally, in terms of more data for inflation, the big factor, the University of Michigan's 1 year inflation expectations came in at 3.3%, slightly above the previous forecast of 3.2. And also, this is providing a little bit of anxiety in the market because the consumer expectations and their inflation expectation is quite important for the consumer part and the consumer discretionary part of the market. So we are going to jump into the charts. The first, I would like to mention the internals. We can see here in the S&P, there's not a lot of volume. We are seeing a slightly increase. Wednesday was a big hit, but then we continue pushing in. In terms of that advanced decliners, we can really see how we pushed first half of the week, but then we were stagnant on the second half. In terms of the Qs, we can see a little bit more action on the Qs. Look at the volume on Thursday and Friday. Also on Tuesday, we were quite big on that. On the advanced decliners, after Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, were pushing. So that's why we are seeing this huge since Trump entered the White House. We are seeing quite a big green candles. Remember, we were on this trend, and now we are really pushing, but it's not a really structured push. We can see here on the 1 hour chart, we were on this trend, but then we left all this liquidity open. We never got a big manipulation move. We're just buy. Quite difficult to trade because we are almost also putting some imbalances on the volumes. On the daily charts, we can see here the volume imbalance right at the end of the daily, which we were during the overnight. On Thursday and Friday, we're just, I think, profit take. So if we go back to the 1 hour, we can see here that volume imbalance and then holding pattern, which I think if we go a little bit more, we have this liquidity that comes from Wednesday last week. This is, I think, is quite a target for next week. And then we are slowly pushing towards big target with all-time highs at 22,000. The ES is really almost there. Look at this. ES is really pushing. These the moving average, the 45 moving average is barely hold. It's really a up. And if we check the sector performance, we can see financials really why Trump is in the White House. We can see consumer discretionary really feeling a little bit of pressure. It's the daily, but bouncing, holding, putting again. We have energy really holding back inflationary pressures, but the banks are really starting to, in part because we had earnings, spectacular earnings from JP Morgan, from Wells Fargo, keep pushing the sector, keep pushing the ES. Also, look at small caps are bouncing a bit. If we check the RSP, we can see how the RSP is. Look at this move. We can see momentum, we can trend, and we can money. So even though the Nasdaq is really sluggish, is lagging behind, I think technology at the end of the day target. But I am expecting a little bit of back and then I don't like buying into some kind of move, continuous move without pullback because for my strategy, all these are sell stops that at the end of the day are targets for manipulation mode. So if we are going to position ourselves for next week, I think the best thing to look for is check for the volume imbalance, to check for a little bit of pullback, maybe on the 1 hour, wait for the 200 catch up, and then take an opportunity around I think 21,700, something like that. I don't want this to be tackled unless a negative catalyst appears. Next week, we are starting earnings, so earnings expectations are quite high. I think are very optimistic. So if we don't meet those expectations, for sure, I will be waiting at this zone to really catch some intraday move or for a nice recovery. So things to watch: volume imbalance, 1 hour that is holding opportunity, but I want a pull. I want a pullback, a manipulation, a change structure, and try to catch for the all-time highs. Be careful with earnings. Don't fall into FOMO with the earnings because earnings season there's a lot of manipulation. A lot of apps are going to appear. Just follow your strategy, follow your risk management, have patience to have the shake up, move first, and then look for opportunity structure. And if your strategy and your setup appear. Earnings season is quite high on expectations, so we have to really be careful if numbers are not following. So that's what I'm waiting. But for now, let's go ahead and rest the weekend, analyze some news, and Trump is really shaking up the markets. There's a lot of difficult times ahead, Trump uncertainty. As always, if you found this video useful, please give it a like. I do these weekly recap videos every Saturday in which we a lot of different things, view and recap the week and be prepared for next week. So stay with me, subscribe to the channel if you like this content. I'm going also to continue doing mostly daily videos from Monday through Friday. Sometimes I skip over because I'm preparing other things for the channel. Stay with me during this year because I want to introduce some improvements to the channel. So if you are new, welcome. And if you are a follower, thank you for the support. Remember, discipline, patience, and risk management are key for your success. Stay safe. Have a nice weekend. See you on Monday.